The most affordable Toyota SUV is this, the Corolla Cross. It's also one of the few subcompact SUVs on sale as a gas-electric hybrid. For 2026, there are a few changes to the exterior, some minor interior changes, and some technology updates. Let's go for a drive and see what makes it so different. The Corolla Cross is brand new for 2022. The hybrid came out a year later. Not much has changed for 2026, and not that Toyota really needed to do much, because the RAV4 has been its most popular SUV. But since prices are going up, this car is becoming even more important. The cross part of the Corolla Cross has to do with being a crossover or cross-country, however you want to justify a small SUV. Versus a Corolla hatchback, this is 5 inches longer. It's also roughly a few inches taller, 8-inch clearance, 1.5 inches wider, but sharing the exact same wheelbase. So truly, it's not all that much bigger than a regular Corolla hatchback or a sedan. Now for 2026, the changes are primarily up front. The hybrid and the regular gas version wear 2 different grills, and they're both restyled. On the hybrid, there's a fading effect. They're all body colors, and some of the imprints here are sealed, some of them are open. It kind of reminds me of Ferrari Roma a little bit. That stretches it, yes, but that's in this color. That's what it makes me think. And this is a new color for 26. It's called Cavalry Blue. And on the XSE, you can get it with a black roof. That's a nice feature. How you also know this is the hybrid? Well, also in front, there's vertical air intakes. They're not actually real, but that's what they're meant to evoke. And out back, there are wider reflectors on that lower bumper, and there's a black kind of polished trim that's going across the bumper. That's how you can distinguish it as the hybrid. The lighting is actually pretty nice, because for an economical car, you're kind of seeing these nice LED kind of lines, the striping effect on both the taillights and the headlights. Those are all just reflections from the top LED portion, but Toyota has some nice details. They put the Corolla Cross name across it as well. And on this one, you get an 18-inch wheels that were actually borrowed from last year's 2025 Nightshade Edition. That trim is no longer available, but those wheels are now on this XSE. It's a decent looking car. Toyota has a pretty nice package here in this top trim. The big change for 2026 is down here. The center console has been redesigned from a tall vertical section to now it's flat and wider. That means more room for your phone and the wireless charger. It means a RAV4 style shifter that's a little bit chunkier. It's easier to basically use with all these switches right in front of you here. It's also more upscale, but what isn't upscale is this. This feels like it's a bath mat that's just come out of a clothes dryer. Not a good feel at all, but the seats are good and a lot of the dash materials are nice and soft. Other new changes for 2026, this larger 10.5-inch touchscreen and a full digital instrument panel on this XSE. And if you're getting this top trim, you get blue patterned seat inserts and stitching, a leather covered shifter, and 2 more cup holders for a total of 6. But the passenger seat is still manual, even here. This car is small, but it is roomier, especially for headroom, than a Corolla hatchback. And there's also 2 USB-C ports back here and rear side airbags. That is not something that you're gonna get in most cars. They're here, not just the curtains, right down here. So that's extra safety. You're looking at one of the smallest cargo holds that you can buy, in the class or anywhere. 21.5 cubic feet behind the rear seats and 44 when they're all folded. The Corolla Cross Hybrid is loud under full acceleration, but you actually get acceleration. It's significantly quicker than the gas-only Corolla Cross. Just under 200 horsepower, an acceleration that on the highway is more than acceptable. The regular Corolla Cross is definitely not. It's making just under 170 horsepower, and that should be okay. But with the added electric motor torque here, and this is technically a 3-motor system, 2 electric drive motors, another that's essentially replacing the starter on the engine. And not only is it significantly quicker, the fuel economy, 46 city, 42 combined, you're barely getting over 30 in the regular Corolla Cross. And that's if you're choosing the all-wheel drive Corolla Cross models. Front-wheel drive models obviously go a little higher, but if you're getting this style, an SUV, you really should just get all-wheel drive. It doesn't add too much to the cost. So really, there's no reason not to go hybrid because there's 3 trims. You don't have to drive this XSE, which is fully loaded. You can just get the SE, same exact powertrain as this. This is the same powertrain as the Prius. It is not the same powertrain as the Corolla hybrid sedan. Very different. We've reviewed that car. It's actually excellent. but that one is slower. It's a different engine. It's not using this 2-liter inline-4, same CVT, and that's why the Corolla Cross Hybrid doesn't really perform as smoothly or really as quickly as the Civic Hybrid, which we've also tested. And so you'll hear the engine jump around a lot when you're just, trying to get a little bit quicker in speed, right? The engine's always just kind of racing, going up, going down. But for a car in this class, it's actually pretty quiet. The ride is good for being a short wheelbase, really short type of car, so that's nice. And the steering tracks well. And on these top trims, you can get lane centering. There's no hands-off feature, nothing like that, but you get all the comfort here, including these seats, which truly, they feel almost as good as what you'll find in the RAV4. So the sport driving mode doesn't actually kick anything further down the road. You're just getting slightly more noise, a little bit more throttle response, so that's kind of good if you want that kind of edgier feel, but again, this car actually accelerates well, it's just noisy. I think that's the thing that would annoy me every day about driving this, just because you can never escape the noise, even if you're just very light on the throttle, that engine is always buzzing. It's not that refined, but again, the trade-off, high fuel efficiency for a car like this, stellar, right? And actual good acceleration, 0 to 60 in the 7 to 8 second mark, something like that. So that's good, right? And at this price, it's getting a little expensive. This is actually where a RAV4 hybrid was just maybe last year and a half, that's it. So the prices have gone up, so if you can't get into a RAV4 hybrid anymore, that's been redesigned, at least you can get into this Corolla Cross hybrid. I like that part of it. Handling's also really good in typical Toyota fashion. Electric power steering is accurate. There's hardly any slop. Some pretty decent feedback, not great, but really, for a regular commuter economy car, it's excellent. Chassis control, there's not a lot of body lean. There's some, because this is still softly tuned, but even though we're riding higher than a Corolla hatchback by a few inches, a lot of that car's really good structure, the integrity, the chassis, it's still present in this car. Personally, I just don't like the driving position as much. I can't adjust this seat down anymore, and even though there's more headroom than a Corolla hatchback, I just feel like I'm driving a bus where the steering wheel's really far down, relatively speaking. So for me, the driving position is far from ideal. I would just get a Corolla hatchback and just suffer without the hybrid powertrains. The visibility out of this car is actually excellent compared to the Prius, and you can compare the Prius to the Corolla Cross Hybrid. They're in the same price category, they've got the same powertrain, they're pretty much roughly the same amount of interior volume. This, with this windshield not coming right at my face, I have an instrument panel, I can see all of it, nothing is blocked. This is significantly better to drive day to day. So choosing the all-wheel drive version of the Corolla Cross, whether gas or hybrid, you get a different rear suspension, a better one. It's a multi-link setup instead of a torsion beam, and that contributes to really stiffer handling, a more controlled ride. It's a more expensive setup and it's better. Braking is soft, kind of too soft in some ways, but this is a hybrid, and once you get used to it, and there's no brake regen settings that you'll find on Kia models, for example, but it stops pretty well. It's a light car. This new 10.5-inch touchscreen is standard on the XSE. It's optional on the SE, using Toyota's familiar interface. There's some vehicle customization. Now, if you don't get this trim, you're getting the 8-inch, which is smaller, but it does have a volume knob. They don't have that here anymore, so it's just this little buttons here. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that there's no shortcut buttons. They could do better, right? Climate controls though, that's nice and easy. And there's other switches here for heated steering wheel and seats below here on the console. But you get navigation on this top trim. Again, there's not too much vehicle customization because this is a hybrid though. You can see the energy flow, which is really important. Or really it's just kind of nice information to see how much you're saving. Graphs, all that good stuff. But there's not too much here, but it's legible and it's quick. I like that. This digital instrument panel is brand new for 2026, and it lets you switch between 3 different presets right here from the steering wheel. I like that a lot because if you press and hold OK, that's when you get to actually change what's in the middle, access settings, change what's on this side, or all the way on the right-hand side. This is really good. I really like the fact that Toyota has this. It's clear, it's visible at all times. If you go into more settings, those are a little harder to adjust, but the colors are good, it's really crisp, and if you change driving modes, you get nice graphics here. Very similar that you'll find in other Toyota products, but this is really a good move for this car. The 2026 Toyota Corolla Cross starts at $25,000. The hybrid starts at $29,000. All-wheel drive is standard if you're getting the hybrid, and in total there are 6 trims, but only the hybrids are in those top trims. What we've tested: the hybrid XSE with the convenience package, the JBL stereo, floor mats, and extra charge paint, $38,000. That's where a RAV4 hybrid was just a few years ago in this same trim. Now the competitors are really only 2, the Kia Niro and the Subaru Crosstrek, both available as hybrids. The Corolla Cross nails all the basics. It's a nice tidy size, really small but roomy in the inside. It's powerful, it's got great efficiency, and the technology is up to date. In going in this direction, the hybrid route, Toyota has priced this car at exactly the same price as a RAV4 hybrid XSE from just a couple years ago. But that is just where the car market has gone. All the prices are up. So I personally don't see this as quite the value it was a few years ago. I personally, given my experience with Toyota's SUVs, would go one step up to the RAV4. But what do you think? There's so many choices out there. So go to CarGurus.com, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.